The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Buli muntu azalibwa n'eddembe lye ery'obwebange. Obadde okimanyi nti kikakatako okuuma eddembe lino. Eddembe lino likuggyibwako litya era ddi? Munnaffe toyitira. Bino n'ebirala birindirire mu programu yaffe Teeka Ki. N'abaweereza abo Nalukwago Emerin Katumba wamu ne Tumusiime Kato. Buli Lwakubiri ku ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya wano ku Alternative Dig Talk.
Nze Omubejja Luwedde Lilian mbaaniriza mu maka gaffe amajja era nga wano wetugenda okuba nga tukolera programu yaffe emanyiddwa nga The Voltage. The Voltage gaba masannyalaze gennyini era nga twogera ku bintu eby'enjawulo. Omwo nno mwe muli ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, ensonga z'ebyobufuzi n'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga Uganda, twogera ku nsonga ez'abavubuka, eddembe ly'obuntu awamu n'ebyenkulaakulana. Togisubwa buli lunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro.
The Diaspora Link buli Lwakuna ssaawa 11 paka ssaawa emu ey'olweggulo ye program gye tukuleetedde wano ku Alternative Dig Talk Uganda. Tugenda batutunuulira embeera z'Abannayuganda, baganda baffe, bannyinaffe zibawangaaliramu mu mawanga ag'ebunaayira. Bangi banyigirizibwa, bangi bakosebwa, bangi bayisiddwamu amaaso. Naye tugenda batutunuulira engeri gye tusobola okulongosaamu embeera zaabwe. Tugenda kuba tulaba abo abakwatibwako abateekeddwa okuba nga balongoosa embeera zino eno. Tosubwa buli Lwakuna n'omuweerezaawo Nixon Segawa.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdulatif and I welcome you to the Hotline Show here at the Alternative Dig Talk as we discuss issues of national importance. Join us every Monday 7 to 9 p.m. and see who will be occupying these seats here with us. Keep it Dig Talk, real issues, real talk.
If you're a Christian and our nation's politics and governance do not concern you, you are doing a disservice to the God you believe in. The Bible in Ephesians chapter 1 verse 23 says, the church you see is not peripheral to the world is peripheral to the church. Which means the church is at the center of everything happening within the world, including, if not especially, how God's people are governed. Why then separate church from politics? Church and politics with your host Sylvain Gumisiuza every Sunday 2 to 3 p.m. live on Alternative Uganda Facebook page.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Two minutes past the top of the hour of 7 a.m. Malema Bidis has finally been arrested. This gentleman is going to face a couple of months in prison. I'll tell you why. And of course, we have the UPDF continuing to make those traverses in the eastern part of Congo, and they are making big strides in that particular part of the region. And still to come, we are talking about the divisions between NUP and DP. We are having the DP president Norbert Mao making a couple of remarks towards the National Unity Platform camp. I'll be telling you more about that particular feud, and of course Mr. Abdul Katim too, who is the chairperson of the disciplinary committee in Parliament, is going to be facing Mr. Francis Zake. Mr. Francis Zake Butebe is going to be facing the disciplinary committee of Parliament on Wednesday. That is going to be tomorrow, to first of all decide his fate, or if he is actually going to be ousted from that particular office of Commissioner of Parliament, or he has other plans, or they have other punishments that they are going to be giving to this particular legislator. And maybe lastly, Vladimir Putin and Emmanuel Macron, who is the president of France, continue to have discussions. This is because of the impending war between Russia and Ukraine, or the impending invasion of Ukraine by the Russian forces. A very good morning and a warm welcome to this edition of the Mighty Drive Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. We are live from the Digitalk House. Today is the 22nd day of February 2022. My name is Edgar, and those are some of the news stories that you should expect in this edition of the Mighty Drive. Now, today we have two interesting individuals, or two interesting guests. One is a lady, she's called Counsel Elizabeth Nafula. She's going to be joining me right here. And I also have Mr. Andrew Mwebesa, who is a legal activist from Kiza and Mugisha Advocates. They'll be joining me up to 9 a.m. Today, and we'll be delving more into some of the discussions about what is happening in the country and some of the things that are happening in that particular department, the legal legislators. So thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from. Feel free to just join me and just comment on anything that you would want to know, or comment on how you're feeling in this particular morning. It's a very, very lively morning. I can even hear sounds from the studio right here. And also, you know, I have Mr. JJ, who is the man on camera. I have Mr. Roger Sturiahabwe, who is in the control room with Mr. Kato Tumusime, and Mr. Arnold Mukose Anthony right there, making sure that everything is malidadi sana. So it's a very, very lively morning right here at the Alternative Digitalk, because it's a brand new day, and at least today it is not very, very cold. It is at room temperature. So if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, please get it. Now let's delve into the discussion of the day. Amawulire mangi getulina agatambula mu ggwanga ne wabweru w'eggwanga. Male Mabirizi, omwami ono yakwatiddwa olunaku lw'eggulo. Omwami Male Mabirizi munnamateeka Nakinku mu ggwanga Uganda. Abantu bangi bamumanyi ku lw'emirimu gy'abadde akola, in fact n'ebintu by'abadde akola. Asuubinze abantu bangi, era ye muntu asinga okubanga advocating the rule of law in this part of the country. Male Mabirizi olunaku lw'eggulo yakwatiddwa ng'ali wali ekyambogo, yadde agezaako okuyingira ssettendekero ono, ate ono omwami abaddeko ekipapula kibakuntumye oba abadde bamunoonya. Omwami Male Mabirizi nga bamuteekako omusango gwa contempt of court. Bamulagira abenga asasula miliyoni 3 kubanga bamusonyiwa, obanga asasule compensation owa miliyoni 3. Unfortunately omwami ono teyakikola, era abadde anoonyezebwa police, era bamukutte olunaku lw'eggulo. N'omwami agenda kuba facing emyezi 18 nga ali mabega wa Mitayimbwa, according to you know, the High Court in Kampala wano yamusalira emyezi 18 nga ali mabega wa Mitayimbwa. Male Mabirizi yakwatiddwa, era wetwogera kati akyali ku Jinja Road Police Post, wagenda okubanga ajjibwa, okubanga atwalibwa mu bitundu ebirala. Nawe tugereko mawulire amalala getuyinako agatambula wano mu ggwanga ku dakiika zino 5 ezakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya. In fact ziri 7 zezakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya. Tuyingireko mu mawulire amalala. Omwami Francis Butebizaake, ono nno mubaka wa Mityana municipality, ayongedde okubanga agwa mu supu ayokya. Wetwogera enkya ya leero, emikono 2 gye gyakakuŋŋaanyizibwa egy'ababaka banne abakkiriza nti omwami Francis Zaake Butebi alina okubanga aggyibwamu obuyinza okubanga ava mu office eri eya Commissioner of Parliament. So mu ngeri eyo omwami ono Francis Zaake wetwogerera ssaawa zino ali mu supu ayokya. Abantu bangi bagamba bambi akole ki asobole okubanga awona this time round. Francis Zaake yagenda ku mukutu gwe ogwa Facebook ne Twitter n'afulumya obubaka obwali buvoola Deputy Speaker Anita Amongo, obwali buvoola ebintu engeri gyakolamu emirimu gye in that regard. So wetwogerera nga ye Francis Zaake agenda kubanga facing akakiiko ka disciplinary committee, lugenda kubeera lunaku lwanca ku Wednesday. Yes, olunaku lwanca agenda kuba meeting Abdul Katuntu ne the disciplinary committee esobola okubanga emusalira obanga eraba engeri gye bagenda okubanga bamubonerezaamu ku bigambo bye yakolera ku social media okwo. Maybe last resort eyinza okubanga bayinza okubanga bamugjamu obwesige mu ofiisi eyo. So gega amawulire agavaako wali mu parliament. Now tugendeko mu njawukana eri wakati wa NUP n'ekibiina ki Democratic Party. Now NUP otwagira bwe yali akajja yatwala ababaka bangi abali mu kibiina kino ekya Democratic Party. Sikulimba, this is actually a fact. Abantu bangi abacrossinga over okuva mu DP wing oba mu DP block ne beegatta ku kibiina kino ekya National Unity Platform. Down the road batandise okubanga beesomera ebigambo ebitali birungi. Omwami Norbert Mao ono nno president w'ekibiina kya DP ayogedde ebintu bingi byabadde takkiririzaamu mu kibiina kino ekya National Unity Platform. Na guno si gwe mulundi ogusoose nga tulaba opposition mu ggwanga lino ng'eyongera okubanga yeerumalumamu mpola mpola. Luli twalinako wano FDC nga yeerumamu ne NUP, twalinako DP nga yeerumamu ne FDC, kati tulina ekiriwo kyekya NUP nga yeerumaluma n'ekibiina kino ekya Democratic Party. Wadde abantu bangi bagamba kuno si actually kucyankalana oba kwawukana kw'aba big dogs, bagamba it's just maybe wali abantu abamu abalaba nti babalyako ebifo oba abantu abamu abali disenfranchised in the opposition. Omanyi mu ggwanga lino we wali zi political parties ng'oluusi nabo balina bye baagala okubanga beefunira in that regard. Buli omu alina individual goals ze. Kyova up to now there has not been a forged unity between the opposition, though everybody really knows that the opposition, in order to stand a chance against the incumbent Mr. President Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni, just to remind you, this gentleman has been in the wheel of this country for more than 36 years now. Okumyaka gyonna egyo opposition ya Uganda eremeddwa okubanga yeegatta, eremeddwa okubanga finding a common solution that is going to host dictator President Yoweri Museveni nga webatera okumuyita. So mu ngeri eyo abantu bano enjawukana zeyongedde era twalaba bickering y'amaanyi egenda maaso mu opposition. Naye kye twebuuza, bino biyamba eggwanga? Gwe mbulya ki kyolowooza? Oba bino bisobola okubanga bitwala eggwanga awantu, oba tukyali mu kwetooloolera mu self interest? Omanyi politics za Uganda buli omu alina kaafunamu. Oli waba alina ssente zaafunamu awo aba amaze, waba talina kyafunamu awo kiba kiganye. Naw tusooke tugendeko era wa president wa Uganda Yoweri Kaguta afulumiza ekiwandiiko nga agaana okuddamu okulimira omuceere mu wetlands. Now omuceere gutera nnyo okuthrivinga mu atmosphere ebeera erimu amazzi, era batira nnyo okusimba mu wetlands oba wetlands bazita wetlands mwe muli swamps, simanyi ngeri gye bakiyita mu lulimi olwo Oluganda, naye wetlands zino ziyambako mu kukunga lisengejjero ly'amazzi, so water is filtered in wetlands. So omwami mukulu Tibuhaburwa yafulumiza directive ng'agamba tewali kuddamu kubanga balima omuceere mu wetlands ez'eggwanga. Kino yali yakyogerako dda, I think there were a couple of weeks ago, or in fact a couple of years ago mu 2019 omwami Tibuhaburwa yakyogerako n'agamba nti rice is not a very it's not a very expensive crop. So otugirimirawo nawe tugirimidde ate tereeta value, bagiyita high value crop. So it's not a high value crop, era mu ngeri eyo osobola ogirimira wonna wonna oba ogirimidde. President yasazeewo nti ezo ze tuyita zi wetlands tetugenda kuddamu kubanga tusimbamu omuceere mu ngeri eyo. So buli mulimi ali wabweru eyo ng'obadde otera nnyo kubanga olimira mu wetlands. President Museveni agambye kino tukikomye. By the way, twogeranga wetland reclamation oba in fact wetland encroachment oba abantu abagenze nga ba-encroachinga ku wetlands zino bakikoze nnyo because twalina wetland cover yali ku 15.5%. That was a couple of years ago. Twogera kati nga yeesaze eri ku 8.9%. Kwegamba tuzze tuzimba mu ntobazi zino mu wetlands zino. So tweddeko tusobole okubanga tufollowing eggwanga lyaffe tulabe engeri gye tunalikulaakulanyamu. So kibanga kyetaaga kubanga tolima mu ntobazi, please tolimamu, don't reclaim, tozimbamu, because kati abalala bayinza obagaana ate okulima omuceere ne basala bazimbe mayumba. Bannayuganda mutumanyi twagala nnyo ebintu webityo. So mu ngeri eyo kyetusaba eggwanga nti tweyongere okubanga to protecting these wetlands for the future generations to come. Noze bulijjo nsiba nkyogera wano nti waliwo omugigi ogukyajja, waliwo abaana baffe n'abaana b'abaana baffe. So if you don't start right now, that means we have a long way to go. Now, still talking about political bickering and feuds in political parties and politicians, Omwami Mubarak Munyagwa yayambalidde Kyagulanyi Robert Ssentamu. Now, Kyagulanyi Robert Ssentamu ye mukulembeze wa National Unity Platform ekibiina ekyembadde njogerako emabegako. So Omwami Mubarak Munyagwa ono yaliko MP wa Kawempe South, yes, yaliko MP wa Kawempe South wadde bamukuba akalulu weevu ye teyamulekera kifo kye. Yavuddeyo n'agamba Kyagulanyi nti no struggle watulimba, toli mu struggle yadde n'akatono. Yakoseze ekigambo totuwuddisa. Yes, tatuwuddisa nti no bali mu struggle. According to Omwami Mubarak Munyagwa, engeri Bobi Wine gy'alivinga obulamu bwe wabeerera ku yaches gaba maataago ng'aliko ne mukyala we bali mu muyimbira pate and everything like that. Munyagwa yagambye ogamba otyo oli mu struggle ng'osiiba okola bubaga, ng'osiiba oli ku yachi weeyagala abantu basiiba bakuyimbira, kwegamba oli n'abuuza bino bye biruma Mubarak Munyagwa over, because it really doesn't come from a point of ridicule. It comes from a point of scorn or heart. Omuntu alinga alumu oli wabeera ku yakye. Naye who am I to say Mubarak Munyagwa yagamba struggle Kyagulanyi yagibalekera oba takyagirimu, ali mu masape ng'engeri y'abavubuka engeri eno gye boogeramu. Muno bantu bangi abayambalidde Kyagulanyi over time, abamu bamwambalira ne banne abali mu kibiina kye ku lw'okuwasa. Ndoza mujjukira Joel Ssenyonyi we yawasiza n'omwami Nubian Lee oba Ali. Omwami oyo we yawasiza abantu bangi ne bafulumya ebigambo nti ate mu struggle mwagivaamu, mwagenda mu weddings. And ate abantu abasinga okwogera ebyo be bantu abali ku opposition abaagala okuba nga bajjako gavumenti. Oluusi n'ogamba, why are we looking at the small things? It's just a small thing. It's just a wedding. It's just a party. It's just a yacht. Kati oliwo abali mu struggle ekitegeeza asigale nga alabika bubi, nga anyize, taseka, enjoying ku bulamu. Life is too short not to be enjoyed. So Kyagulanyi is a human being like me and yourself. I'm not defending anybody because I don't think anybody has anything to be defended against, but the thing is sometimes we are human beings. No, our president Kaguta Museveni mutero mulaba naye nga agenzeko okulya ku bulamu bwe, ye wabeera ku faamu ye bwe bulamu bwanyumirwa. Oluusi buli muntu muleke anyumirwa obulamu bwe. Oluusi nze mba ndowooza this is spoken from a point of jealous, nti omuntu abeera ayina ennugu ye walaba abalala nga basanyuka naye kyongera okumutta, naye ate wonaagwa kubalumya oli walaba mbu kikuluma ajja kukulumiza ddala, ajja kweyagalirako ddala. Oluusi you don't have to just think about it, just ng'omuzungu wagamba chill it and continue. It is what it is. So yoyo Kyagulanyi Robert Ssentamu n'omwami Mugati gwa Bata Mubarak Munyagwa agamba nti struggle Bobi Wine yagibalekera. Nno Munyagwa ono abadde yakwatibwa emabegako awo bamufulumiza ndozo olunaku lw'eggulo, bamutadde, waliwo abakuumaddembe abaali bamukwata era bamutadde olunaku lw'eggulo. Twogera nga akyali mu ddwaliro agezaako okuba nga afunako ku some help. Yoyo Mugati gwa Bata, a very funny and sensational gentleman, a man that I like to look at. Even when you look at him you smile. It's how funny the gentleman is, Mr. Mubarak Munyagwa. Now tuveko kawo parish model egenda kubeera launched olunaku lw'omwezi mu wiiki eno, ennaku z'omwezi 26. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni agenda kuba nga launchinga parish model. Eno parish model yenteekateeka empya ereeteddwa egenda okuba nga eyamba bannayuganda okuba nga beefunira ku nsimbi, nga omanyi projects nyingi ezizze nga zibeera implemented by government okuba nga ziyamba bannayuganda okuba nga bejja mu bwavu. Now parish model egenda kuba nga ssente zigenda kusinziiranga ku buli muluka, so ku buli muluka bagenda kuguwanga ekitono ennyo, zigenda kubeera miliyoni 10 okuba nga abavubuka n'abantu obw'omu abalina busako oba abeegatta basobole okuba nga beekulaakulanye at the end of the day. So parish model egenda kubeera launched ng'ennaku z'omwezi 26 omwezi guno gwennyini ogwa February omwaka 2021. Atufulumeko wabweru w'eggwanga tugendeko wali mu Tanzania. Omukyala Samia Suluhu ya meetings omwami Tundu Lissu. Now Tundu Lissu abatamumanyi Tundu Lissu ono yali leader of opposition oba ye musajja era akulembera opposition wali mu ggwanga erya Tanzania mu time ya omwami John Pombe Magufuli era omwami ono yadduka mu ggwanga lino erya Tanzania n'agenda mu ggwanga liri erya Belgium. Now addukayo yadduka ng'agamba waliyo political persecution n'engeri gye bamuyisanga mu teyali nnungi nnyo mu ngeri eyo era yavaayo for security reason yoyo omwami Tundu Lissu yamitinzeemu jjo omukyala Samia Suluhu nonno president w'eggwanga lino erya Tanzania yamumitinze wali mu Belgium gye bali okumitinga the different United European countries oba European leaders finding a way of having a consensus on the African continent. So bebo era omukyala Samia Suluhu yasabye Tundu Lissu akomewe waka yamugamba please return home akomawe waka tewagenda kuyisa mu ngeri gye wali oyitamu nga mwami John Pombe Magufuli wali akyali mbuyinza. So Samia Suluhu no ayongedde okuba nga defyinga odds mu ggwanga lino erya Tanzania. Bantu bangi bali bamuwanezi ultimatum bali tebamubalira ku kintu kyonna naye azabalaga nti nasobola n'okuba nga alishafolinga ne cabinet ye akoyinze policies ez'enjawulo akoze foreign policy ndoza mujjukira engeri gya meeting amu Yoweri Kaguta Muhabura meetings Kenyatta meetings wa leaders ab'enjawulo wuyo ne muzi Belgium agenda era omukyalo ono bamwerinde ayinza okuba nga ayinza okuba nga alina okudda as the president ayina okuba nga yesimba ate wanesimbawo I'm sure Tanzania will actually vote for Samia Suluhu. She's going to be the first female she's already the first female president in East African region, but I feel she's going to also be that one who's going to go in an actual race and actually win it or take it home. Samia Suluhu. Foreign policy excellent. Then olaba ne domestic policy ewaka abantu bamwetaaga nnyo omukyalo oyo Samia Suluhu. Now UPDF nga maliriza yagadde landing sites nnya mu Kalangala district oba Kalangala Island. Wetwogeranga landing sites nnya zagaddwa mu landing sites zino mulimu landing site gye bayita Lwabaswa, waliwo Semawundo, waliwo Minsonzi n'Ekitobo. Ekibagazizaawo landing sites zino bagamba nti tebayina bisaanyizo birungi oba bayina bad fishing practices oba envuba embi era n'ebisaanyizo ebibakkiriza okuvuba tebannaba kubanga babifuna bulungi. So mu ngeri eyo gavumenti ya UPDF yabagaddewo mpaka we banaabanga beetereza landing site zaabwe bajja okubanga baziggulawo wali mu Kalangala Islands. So ndoza gega mawuli egensobola okubanga mbawaako amachaga olunaku olwaleero. Stories zo zibeerawo nnyingi nnyo. Omwami Emmanuel Macron ono president w'eggwanga erya France yakubiddeko Vladimir Putin bamaze essaawa 3 nga banyumyamu ku mboozi banoonya omwami ono Emmanuel Macron anoonya engeri yonna gy'asobola okubanga akola okubanga asirisa oba ng'alemesa Vladimir Putin okubanga invadinga Ukraine. Oyo no Emmanuel Macron musajja muvubuka nnyo myaka 39 naye nga ye president wa Bufaransa. Mukyala we omulaba mukyala amusinga emyaka 10 weddu. So Emmanuel Macron yagambye Vladimir Putin asobole okubanga standing down leme kuyingirira eggwanga lino erya Ukraine wadde alinga afuuyirira endiga omulere kubanga newokola otya tesobola kubanga ebibyamu ku mazina era Vladimir Putin alinga akyali steadfast. Wetwatuukidde jjo nabagambye nti waliwo troops ezaadde ziri withdrawn okuva ku border ya Ukraine ne Russia, amagye ga Russia ge baggyeeyo naye ate akiringa ekiri vice versa because bagagyeeyo okulaga nti baggyeeyo naye ate munda mu part of Russia munda mu border ng'oyingidde Russia era mukyalimu amagye agawera emitwalo 19 nago gonna gakyalinze. Era omwami Vladimir Putin yabagambye waba yagadde akuwamba Ukraine asobola okugiwambira mu ssaawa 12 zokka z'aba yeetaaga okubanga awamba ekibuga Kiev n'eggwanga erya Ukraine. Katulinde tulabe ki ekinaagenda mu maaso naye abantu bangi nga Joey nabagambye bacha anticipating abagamba Vladimir Putin yona alina okubanga alina okuinvadinga eggwanga lino erya Russia eggwanga lino erya Ukraine era abantu bangi bagamba nti luno olutalo wekataligirya tuyinza okulaba sematalo agenda okubeera omunene oba asinga olutalo lugenda okusinga obunene okuva 1945 wetwafuna second world war yaleeta ebyali effects zaali nyingi nnyo eri abantu. Twalina abantu abattibwa, abajju abattibwa, tulina abantu bangi, bintu bingi byali mu second world war. Kati tulina olutalo olulala luli at the blink era abantu bangi bajjeyo abantu baabwe mu Ukraine otwogereranga yo eri under pressure. Kyonna ekigenda okubeerawo it is what it is. Olutalo luyinza okuba nga lusimattukawo wakati w'eggwanga lino erya Russia n'eggwanga lino erya Ukraine. Bana mwebale nnyo ababadde ku mukutu gwa Alternative Digitalk. Tugenda kuba nga tuwummulamu nabasuubiza nti tulina omwami Andrew Mwepesa, onono ye legal assistant wali ku Kiza and Mugisha Advocates. Tulina ne Counsel Elizabeth Nafula bagenda kuba baneegattako paka ssaawa 3. Tugenda kunyumya human rights violations in the legal system. So mu byamateeka mulimu nno human rights violations. Obadde okimanyi oba badde tokimanyi, omwami Andrew agenda kuba akunyonnyola bingi n'omukyala Nafula. Let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, Mighty Drive is still just starting. Good morning. South Uganda. As promised, we deliver. We are redefining the social media narrative, asking tough questions and holding your leaders accountable. We are non-partisan and break down having a conversation with Uganda.
We are the Mighty Drive. We hold debates that give you viable solutions. We bring to you people that Ivora is wanting to listen to. We are gender sensitive and give space to the unheard voices. Not forgetting the quote of the day.
We are live on our social media platforms, The Alternative Uganda on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter from Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Don't miss the debate behind the wheels and studios.
I am Edgar Matthew Karuhanga
and Princess Luwe Delidian.
Expect in-depth analysis, credible, factual and authentic information. We are the Alternative Digitalk.
Real issues, real talk.
How you beautiful Ugandans, it's your girl Teddy Tenjo. Welcome to the Fancy Flow. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the Fancy Flow. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl, Teddy Tenjo. It is the Fancy Flow.
Schools are open. Parents, guardians, have you prepared your adolescents that are pregnant and mothers for school? The government has given us national guidelines to assist with the responsibility of sending these girls back to school. Let us help to provide them with a safe, productive and friendly environment for their learning. They are still our children living among us in our communities. Their pregnancies, becoming mothers before adulthood, affects them, their community and our nation. All children have a right to education. Now, let's take them back to school because completing their primary and secondary school education is very important to their future careers, personal development and being productive citizens of our nation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Sports, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Yes, we are halfway into the first hour of the show. This is The Mighty Drive, and my name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga, and it's always a privilege to serve you every day right here on The Mighty Drive. Now, you can also join the conversation. Feel free to log on to our social media platforms at The Alternative Uganda, that is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all other social media platforms. Feel free to just send me a direct message on Facebook, or you can actually send in a comment, and I'll be reading some of those comments subsequently as the show moves forward. I promised you that I have Mr. Andrew Mwebesa, who is from Kiza and Mugisha Advocates. He's going to be telling us more about himself. But before he does that, we'll first also need to find out from you, in case you want to call in live. The number is 0789017145. Yes, feel free to just give us a call in the next hour of the show and make any comment, ask any question, and we shall be here to actually answer it for you. Mr. Andrew is already in set, and he looks very, very smart. You're welcome, Andrew.
Thank you, Edgar. Good morning.
Good morning.
The viewers, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you. I wish the audience the best of the show.
Yeah, I know it will be a good show since you are here. And how is it going? How's your life?
Edgar, life has been good. We thank God. Above all, there are very many challenges here and there.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we keep moving on, and our lives are never cut short by the challenges. Unless maybe a challenge goes to the extent of taking your life.
Yeah.
But where you keep alive, I keep hopeful, optimistic, and for a better tomorrow. So that's why we're moving on.
Okay, we shall be joined by Miss Anafula Elizabeth, who is a bit late, but she'll be joining us in a few minutes from now. But before she does that, Mr. Mwebesa, also pick your mind, maybe to find out on how is Kiza and Mugisha Advocates, because for the benefit of our viewers, this gentleman is the legal assistant at Kiza and Mugisha Advocates. How's that law firm doing?
Well, Kiza and Mugisha Advocates, we've been busy. Kiza and Mugisha has been busy. We've had quite a number of cases. We've had quite a number of activities to engage in for the last since the beginning of the year, but also for the last 2 years, for the last 4 years of our existence. We've been busy at the forefront of fighting for people's rights. And as you know, that Kiza and Mugisha is primarily a human rights law firm, which has decided and has committed to fighting for people's rights, to fight for the rights of journalists, media personnel, political activists. Kiza and Mugisha, for the last 1 month, for example, we've been pursuing the freedom of one Kakwenza whose life has been under threat, and more so threatened by not simple individuals, but also big individuals in the country. And well, we pursued that, and at the end of it all, the events as they unfolded, he left the country, and we believe that he's in a good place, so that he is able to get good medication, and he's also able to have the freedom like he had before, the freedom of where Kakwenza was known for his writings. He has been writing his book. I believe where he is, he's writing his books. I believe where he is, he's making some good work out of himself.
But he's not home, Mr. Mwebesa.
He's not home. Yeah, that is also one of the challenges, as you may say. He's not home, true, and where he is not home. That's the truth. But every step in the right direction ought to be uploaded, because in this case, even when he was home, he was in detention, incommunicado detention, unlawful detention.
Most definitely.
Yes. During that detention, Kakwenza was tortured. He was beaten to the extent that even a government agency, the Uganda prisons, came out and could not hide it any longer. They said he was beaten.
By the time the guy was brought, he was already having this.
He was in a vegetable state.
Yeah.
So Kakwenza, even when he was in his country, I don't think he was happy. So where he is right now is he's getting some treatment, and I believe he will be returning. He promised that he will be returning. So when he returns, I think he's one of the individuals we should go to Entebbe, welcome, and give all the praises.
Yeah.
He really done great.
He is a gentleman who has gone through a lot. But some people also say the diction he uses in his literature, the writings and these articles and these plays and these books sometimes is also too much. And also the language he has been using on his social media platforms. And many people are saying, Kakwenza, yes, torture is not good, but this gentleman is also not the best of, mannered characters.
I think sometimes what you may call abusive sometimes is subjective. And also, I think any media and other journalists should take into interest of what Kakwenza writes about. I've read 2 of his books, The Banana Republic and The Greedy Barbarian. And in both books, Kakwenza never used, Kakwenza has not used an abusive language.
Yeah, in the literature, yes.
Now, you need to distinguish those 2 things from what he uses on his social media.
Yeah.
One thing we cannot take away is that Kakwenza is a bitter man. He has been beaten. Kakwenza has gone through a series of torture. And
that was the 3rd time, just for clarity of our viewers. It was the 3rd time the gentleman was being
3 times.
tortured.
And each time he's arrested, he comes out with, the body is always, he's always beaten.
I know.
He's always detained for even more than 20. This time round, he was detained for more than a month, I may say, because even by the time he was brought to court, he was produced, but none of even his lawyers, not even his family, accessed him. So, in this case, Kakwenza may be bitter, and whatever he does on his social media page is out of the bitterness, out of the many torturous series he has gone through, and
sometimes they do affect your mind.
They do affect his mind. So I think we should not delve so much into what Kakwenza uses, but let's look at, if at all he was not beaten, I don't think he would be, and if at all he has not been, maybe also he's part of the many Ugandans who are not comfortable with the current state of events, the politics, the human rights, and when he comes out to speak, I think we should not be selective on the words he's going to use. We should not just dwell on the words he's using, but we should also dwell on where does he come from, because that one will give us the bigger picture.
And what message is he passing on?
The message is passing on, I think it's a message of telling those in power and those who have always been at the helm of his torture that, please, you're doing something wrong, and he's trying, whatever he's doing, it's like when you're being fought against. You'll always try to fight against the person who is fighting you. So Kakwenza is doing the same thing. And whatever style he uses, I must say, he is very, very right.
Okay, that is Mr. Andrew Mwebesa from Kiza and Company Advocates. Now, for benefit of our viewers, Mr. Mwebesa, you're going to blend in a bit of Luganda. Olumanyi. Kati mungeri njagala ntandike ku kibuuzo ekiri so pertinent kati tunayingira mu human rights. Kizan company advocates bantu bangi babajweteseeko ebigambo oba ngambe baboogeddeko kuba okujweteka mba ngambye ate si bituufu ne bangi ababyogeddeko nga bagamba mudefendinga nnyo bano ba human rights naye muyina omulimu omulala muyina fasade eraga nti you are defending human rights naye ate muyina hidden agenda abamu bagamba mubadde nnyo n'abanyarwanda nga muba defendinga muyina engeri gye mufuelingamu discontent oba onjawukana muyina agenda in fact that's the right word to use muyina agenda gye muliko muyina hidden agenda kituufu oba balimba
ku nsonga eyo kansooke neebaze Mr. Kiza Aaron. Mr. Kiza Aaron has the partner of the law firm, and who is is the managing partner. So Mr. Kiza Aaron has really been a very good captain at our office. He's the team leader. So at our office, tutera captain. So tukulembedde bulungi mu ngeri y'okulaga nti tulina okulwanirira eddembe ly'Abannayuganda ate tulina okubalwanira okuva mu buli ango. Tetugenda kutukeera enkya tugambe nti tuli ku Kakwenza yekka. Nedda. Ate tetugenda kukeera Kakwenza yali musajja muwanvu tugambe nti tugenda kubeera ku basajja abawanvu bokka. Nedda. Abantu bonna Bannayuganda bonna tubalwanirira nga bwe kisoboka. Kangende ku kibuuzo ky'ombuuzizza. Bwe weetegereza ebintu nga bwe biri ne gavumenti yaffe nga weetuuse tutuuse ku level nti ebyobufuzi osanga biri mu kulwanagana ne what the law says ne kyamateeka kye galagira
politics and the law
they are contradicting. Kati bwe tutuuka mu mbeera eyo abantu bagenda kutulugunyizibwa wadde kyoyagala bya bufuzi naye abantu bagenda kutulugunyizibwa olw'ensonga z'ebyobufuzi. Bwe bamala okutulugunyizibwa ng'ate tosobola gamba nti ono omusibe wa byabufuzi sigenda kukola ki kumulwanirira ddembe lye. Nedda. Buli musibe yenna yeetaaga okulwanirira. Buli muntu yenna aba ayinako engeri eddembe lye bwe lirinnyirirwa yeetaaga okukola ki okubeererwawo. So n'olwekyo Mwami Kiza Aaron yateekawo enkola ey'okugamba nti buli client ajja ku office tumwaniriza. Kubanga faamu yaffe erwanirira ddembe ly'Abannayuganda. Tetufaayo lwa kubanga oli muwanvu, tetufaayo lwa kubanga oli mumpi, tetufaayo lwa okwegamba engeri yonna gy'ojjamu n'omusamize naye tukola kitumuddiramu. So kikyengezaako kugamba Abanyarwanda bwe bajja at that time the Rwandese lives were being threatened. Edgar, I want you to imagine, let's just not dwell on having on just Banyarwanda, because at the end of the day Banyarwanda are people who have rights. The way they cross borders to enter Uganda is a story for another day. But in as long as they have as long as they're in Uganda, let's take them to be refugees. They have rights. These rights are not only in our statute books, but also on the international level. We have rights that regulate their stay, their safety, and everything. What am I trying to say? Banyarwanda here. Banyarwanda also actually part of the tribes in our constitution. We are brothers and sisters. But the problem comes where now the politics comes in and we want to pursue them on a political line. Our captain was very clear and he was like, here we have to intervene and guide them and help. We are not...
There is no hidden agenda.
There is no hidden agenda. Our agenda is very clear. Protect, defend and fight for the rights of people.
Okay. Now,
don't discriminate across borders.
Kale, Mr. Mwebesa, for the benefit of our viewers, we've been joined by Miss Elizabeth Nafula. You're welcome to the Mighty Drive. I hope you're okay. Okay, I don't want to throw you in the bus. Let me first finish. Get you just a minute to gasp your breath. And Just, Council Mwebesa, I want to also pick your mind now on the general perspective of the state of human rights in our country. You've just said so that Mr. Kakwenza was tortured of recently. It's not like it's not a long time ago, it's just a couple of weeks. And this gentleman had to flee his country. And we've seen these things happening. In 2021, we had over 50 people who were, let me use the word, murdered in cold blood. And up to now, nobody has been convicted. And what do you take of the events that it looks like the state of human rights abuse is growing by the day? And maybe just tell me what you think about it.
It is unfortunate that we've got into this discussion in a way that at all points you expect that even when a country is falling, but let the human rights be defended, and let people be accorded their human rights. The current state of human rights is, we may say that as a country we are losing, as we are also, we are in a poor, I don't know, but to simply put it is that the human rights are under threat. Human rights of individuals are under threat. That is one thing we cannot take away. I want you to know that I've followed the dailies for since 28th of December when Kakwenza was arrested. In between there, we had Masereka, the NUP registrar from
I think that was Ntoroko
in Bundubujo.
Yeah, Bundubujo.
So, and along that, we also had other people who have been reported to be illegally detained. There are people who have been in prison for long and they have not been brought to court to answer to their charges. But, so you realize I've followed the trend and it is not the best one. We are not going up, but we are rather going down. So, in as far as human rights are concerned, we are not at a very good stage. We are failing, we are losing, and it's high time the government intervenes and sets the record, tries to do something. It's really alarming in as far as human rights are concerned. The defenders of human rights are now the abusers of human rights. The people whom you expect to come up and actually speak bold are the people who are coiling their tails. So really,
sometimes you ask what should they do, because most of them, like the police, ask what should we do.
The stakeholders, the stakeholders.
You're going to answer from later, or let me first bring in Ms. Nafula.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Nafula, what is your take on what is happening in the country? As I've told you, these things are reoccurring. Buli lunaku tulabawo ekintu ekirala ate nekiraganga ate bali abatalina kye bakoze nga mmwe abatalina kye mukola naye nga ate muvudde ne mulwanira eddembe lya bannayuganda. Olowooza, why is this trajectory like this? Why are we at this point at this time?
We are at this point because people don't want to come out and fight for their rights. Today it may be Kakwenza, but tomorrow it may be you. So if you keep quiet, next time they pick you, all other people will keep quiet. So we as human rights defenders, we come out to do everything that we can. It doesn't have to look like truly anti-government. No, we are not. We are just lawyers that are fighting for rule of law. Yes.
Okay, but then they are the more vital people, the perpetrators of these human rights abuses. We know them, and we just choose to bury our heads in the sand. What don't you think? There are some things we need to do to these? Some things that should be done to the people who are behind these human rights violations, and how can we go about it?
It is really unfortunate because the perpetrators are the same people supposed to uphold the rule of law.
An irony.
Yes, it's so ironic, but your human rights have been violated, you're going to report, and it is the perpetrator
To
who is in
receive your
control.
report.
Exactly. So it is a very big challenge, and it is pulling us back as a country in regards to human rights.
Okay, Mr. Mwebesa.
Yes, yes.
That is, I wanted to also bring that into perspective, that the people who are behind these violations, we know them. Like, we know the people who sanctioned some, the shootings. We know people who sanctioned the beating of the journalists. You remember the High Commission, UN High Commission. We know these people, but why is it that there is a limit to them? It feels like they are untouchable.
I think when you say untouchable, you make us arrive to a point what we call impunity. And impunity is also obviously exercised by those who have power. At the moment, all the duty bearers and the relevant stakeholders you're talking about, they know their duties. They are well prescribed in the law. So it's not that whatever they are going to do, they have to first think about it. They know the duties. They know what they are supposed to do. When someone comes to your court and is tortured, you know what to do. Okay? In fact, in one of the laws, you're not supposed to continue with proceedings.
The guy is tortured.
They are supposed to be rendered a nullity, whichever proceedings they may be. So, what am I saying? In the current circumstance, it's unfortunate that the people we come here to discuss, to remind people of their obligations on what they're supposed to do. It's really unfortunate. And if you're talking quite about our institutions have failed because even in the end, for example, last time people were shocked. The media was discussing how the judiciary is silent about the ongoing torture.
And it is still silent. They're still in their sweet sleep.
So what am I trying to say? That it's unfortunate that we come here to remind people of their obligations. You may tell me of the many relevant stakeholders, tell me that they are supposed to do this, but they are not, the same people have not restrained themselves of, going on to torture people. Even when we go to court, the courts have failed to find them, to hold them accountable, So, which means at the end of the day, even when they are perpetrators of torture, they always find ways of going away with it. So, it is unfortunate, and that's why I've told you that the current state of human rights is really alarming. Okay. It's not where we are supposed to be. For a country which has had a long history of violence, rampant human rights abuses, and each time we have a new regime coming, fortunately I was born in the regime. It's the regime of 1986, but each time we come in, we are always reminded that this regime came, and one of the principles they stood on was to fight against human rights, against the rampant abuse of human rights. And yes, I've also gotten a chance that I'm born in a digital era where we share videos of the 1970s. And I remember the president of the Republic of Uganda, saying that Obote was killing everyone, children.
He was killing everybody. He was killing everybody.
Yeah, so, but then I've also I've also come to understand that even these days they are killing everybody who has been spared. Writers are being killed, peasants, and it's okay. It's okay. But students, we've lost actually very many students, and we even have students that are nursing wounds currently. But all the things are happening nevertheless. But I want to say that the duty bearers have their mandates clearly prescribed in the law. We ought not to come here to remind them, but we ought to come here to discuss why they are not going by what they are supposed to do, and why they are not going. As I've answered in the beginning, it is the gross impunity that people go beyond what they are supposed to do and do what they are not supposed to. And I want to say, if impunity stands, we lose it on the human rights front.
Okay, I see we have 5 minutes to the top of the hour. I think let's go in for a short commercial break. But then, before you think we go in, I want to pick your mind lastly, because you said this statement. But these judges are also human beings like yourself. Do you expect to have another Archbishop Lumu? And I don't think anybody wants to go down that road anymore. So don't you also think they're human beings, and sometimes we know that there is an invisible hand that sometimes will also, you can be subjected to it and also change tomorrow.
The invisible hand notwithstanding, by the time you decide to be a judge, there is a law that governs you. You're supposed to adjudicate.
There is a law, but that law, it's not everything, my dear.
Edgar, let's not.
Because people live by survival. I'm a human being. I want to survive. I will do everything to survive.
Let's not blow the discussion.
Yes.
As I've said, I'll stick to one thing. The duty bearers have what guides them. Where the judge, when you become a judge, you're not supposed to go by who has appointed you, but you're supposed to adjudicate without any influence from any side. Okay. The judge's privileges and whatever they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to exercise their power is supposed to be exercised judiciously.
Okay. So
you have to balance. You don't have to go into the influence of who appointed you or on whose recommendation you came into that office. But by the time you're there, you're supposed to do your work as you, not as anyone. So what am I trying to say? At the end of the day, I'm not going to go into the invisible hand. I'm not interested. Me, I look at a person in office, and I always want to go with that person.
To do what he's mandated to do.
To do what he's mandated to do. Thank you. And nevertheless, I think the Bible is very clear. A judge is always, the judge was always that person who always came in to stand, administer fairness, even feel mercy also to the person who is at a loss. Yes, we have laws, they have come in. But I think, like Desmond Tutu guided, why you choose silence, or you choose to be neutral.
You're siding with the oppressor.
You're siding with the oppressor. So something is crystal clear that there has been torture. Someone has been tortured. Why do we again have to delve into discussions of Manya, the judge had an invisible hand? Why should we delve into that?
But you see why I'm saying this? We had a judge who saw Mr. Kakwenza and the way he was looking like. And some of us didn't meet him face to face, but what we saw on video is evidence enough to know this gentleman needs medical help. But we have a judge who says, no, you're not going to get him. You look well. I will talk about that and much more in the next hour of the show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karanga. I am still with Mr. Andrew Mwebesa, who is the legal assistant at Mugisha and Kiza and Mugisha Company Advocates. And of course, I have Miss Elizabeth Nafula. She's also a lawyer. Now, when we come back, we're going to find out some of the solutions or maybe some of the other challenges we are facing in human rights protection and how can we actually overcome these particular challenges. My name is Edgar. Let's break now. When we come back, the Mighty Drive continues. Good morning.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Digitalk. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views, and ask questions on Alternative Digitalk. Digitalk, the way to go.
Buli muntu azalibwa n'eddembe lye ery'obwebange. Obadde okimanyi nti kikakatako okuuma eddembe lino. Eddembe lino likuggyibwako litya era ddi? Munnaffe toyitira. Bino n'ebirala birindirire mu pulogulaamu yaffe Teeka Ki. N'abaweereza abo Nalukwago Emerin Katumba wamu ne Tumusiime Kato. Buli Lwakubiri ku ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya wano ku Alternative Digitalk.
If you're a Christian and our nation's politics and governance do not concern you, you are doing a disservice to the God you believe in. The Bible in Ephesians chapter 1 verse 23 says, the church you see is not peripheral to the world is peripheral to the church, which means the church is at the center of everything happening within the world, including, if not especially, how God's people are governed. Why then separate church from politics? Church and Politics with your host Sylvain Gumisiriza every Sunday 2 to 3 p.m. live on Alternative Uganda Facebook page.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Yes, it is 8 a.m., ladies and gentlemen, as we're speaking. Ashura from Kapchora says, good morning over here. I'm watching live from Kapchora. I don't have much to say. Let me say one thing. No one is safe in Uganda in these days. Because if you talk the truth, they will kill you. Now, I also have Mr. Kenneth Isavidier, Daria Mirembe, Namirembe Angela, Bala David Buiruka. I have Teddy Tenjo, Nabukela Gamboyo, Bobby Struggle, Yajiva Muda. There is Brooke Williams, Chikomeko, there is Mutale Farouk, there is Hussein Kamoga, Franklin Gooding, Junior, Waliwo, Omuntu Wawansi, Mutawe Esi, Iana Chamagero, Anthony, Michael, Tamale, Banangi, Mwena Mulibanja, Bali Kusho. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have Mugisha, Jimmy, who's watching from Kampala University. Thank you so much. He's also a journalist like myself. A special shout out to you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that short commercial break. My name is still Edgar Matthew Karohanga. I am with Mr. Andrew Mwebesa, who is a legal assistant at Kiza and Mugisha Advocates, and also an associate from the same, organization, which is Kiza and Mugisha Advocates, Miss Elizabeth Nafula. We're still talking about the state of human rights in Uganda today. Now, I'm going to start off with you, Elizabeth. I want to just pick your mind on, yes, these things are going on. We are seeing the human rights violations. But then, what is our role as Ugandans in defending human rights? What is our role? How should we do it? Because normally many Ugandans think the Mwebesas who wear the suits and the Edgars who can speak to camera are the ones who actually have something to do or have to say something. But what about them? A normal Ugandan who goes by his business each and every day to trade and do anything. What is his role in ensuring that there is protection of human rights in this country?
I think all of us as citizens, we need to stick together. We need to be united and fight for our rights. We need to speak up. We need to always speak up whenever someone's rights have been violated. Because you find very many people lay back and keep quiet because they're scared. But when we stick together, we come together and fight and say this is the truth, this is what the law says, because no one is above the law.
Mind you, Elizabeth, people don't know the law in this country. Do you know that? People don't know the law.
People know the
law.
They know the basics. At least
yeah,
they know the basics.
At least.
So if you know the basics, come up, speak. If you keep quiet, they will keep stamping on your rights.
Okay.
Yes.
But when you speak, you're also not assured of safety after you've spoken something.
Now that's why I say we should be united. Because if you speak and your rights are violated, someone else will also speak. Will they imprison the whole of Uganda? No. So we all have to come up, hold hands, and speak up.
Okay, those are statements like Mr. Retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye always says that if all of you come together,
Yes.
but Ugandans have failed to forge a unity. Mr. Mabisa, what do you think about it? Do you think we as a people, we as Ugandans, have given some people leverage to trample over our rights and still go away with it? Because this, as I've told you, these things have not happened today. We've had these violations starting from as far as 1996. In 2001, remember what happened to Besigye. In 2006, in 2011, these things have been reoccurring. And I feel like we as a society have reached a point where we say, it is normal. I was even telling you after in the break that some of us have reached a point of saying, these things are actually normal. Like, we are used to them. Do you think we as a people are have contributed something, or our silence is siding with the oppressor? And maybe how do we awaken a generation to realize that there is more to life other than such a situation?
No, those auntie, we have not normalized the situation.
What have we done?
Because at the end of the day, it's not that we have to keep silent in the hands of the oppressor. Why should the oppressor? Why should we be oppressed? Why should we be oppressed for someone who is not a criminal?
Ali kyandi mukugamba nti kireka twafuuka point egamba mbu yafuuse lifestyle tetugirabanga oppression oba kitegera kyegamba tetugirabanga oppression tugirabanga kya bulijjo.
Kyo kituufu nti okunyigirizibwa kwe tulimu kwe twandibadde twakutuukako tutya era bwe twakutuukirako lwaki why did we get to oppression anyway? Because at one time we were transiting from oppression and coming into a non-oppressive regime. But anyway, it has continued, it has carried on, and it is still existing. But in all that, we get to realize that Ugandans are not to blame. I want to first clear that. Ugandans are not to blame. That they have normalized torture and what. No. Ugandans have done what they can. People are always embroiled in very many things. People are engaged in their economic activities. They are fending for their families. I want to disassociate myself from any belief that maybe they are to blame, they have normalized torture. But then I want to speak up to the people who are have power, who have decided to go past what their mandate, and they have went ahead to infringe on the rights of people because for their own personal benefits. First and foremost, all the freedoms are guaranteed. People who have decided to take us on are people who feel like even the little that we have, even the little that we are left with, because, and Edgar, what I've noted is that the freedom and the rights are the only asset that a Ugandan has before he gets into the man of today and what and what. That is the only asset.
By mere virtue of a person being a human being.
Of you being born alive and you've lived, the only asset you have is the human rights. So, where the oppression comes in, which means someone is trying to take away something from you. And this person, when he takes it away, it keeps on his side and maybe he wants to enjoy it. But at the end of the day, we are here to Ugandan people are born here to stay and live. but not to be oppressed. So the oppression comes in from me from a point of greed, from the point of wishful thinking, and the point to also, you know, discredit people politically on other platforms, socially and economically. So where somewhere the oppression comes in, I feel it's always bad, and I feel like it should be condemned, because oppression, even when you stretch it, you may not only stretch it to Besigye, but even Kaanga Ssemwogere, who stood in 1996, will tell you that he felt some kind of oppression. Even the people who stood during the Obote regime will tell you that they faced some kind of oppression.
Museveni faced the
yes,
oppression
even now the
himself
president faced the same. So what am I trying to say? At the end of it all, it is not just oppression. Like we say it, but there is that invisible hand, the duty bearers who have decided to bury not to keep silent and see this oppression being worked on, and slowly by slowly, it has infiltrated society. And what you call normalization is just that Ugandans have been made poor. They have no time to go in to start even thinking about it. But slowly by slowly, it has infiltrated them, and people find it more convenient to spend most of their time doing other things, doing their work, going about their work, than even talking about it.
You've used the word "made poor." How do you defend that statement?
Anyway, you can't.
One would say we
may be here talking about human rights, but we also have to know that Ugandans are not economically. They are not in good terms. They are not living well. So what happens is that at the end of the day, you know, the economy and our standards of living are driven by money. People want money, people want good services, and so even when those things are not, we don't have such things. At the end of the day, we get to suffer. And we always wake up in the morning and we're thinking about money. That's how the world has been made to move. So at the end of the day, you realize we lose it. We are not normalizing it, but I think people have gotten other demands that have certainly dissuaded them from looking even at the oppression.
Okay. Elizabeth, why do you want some add something?
I want to add something
yes,
on what he has said. When it comes to saying Ugandans have done something, they actually have done something, especially using social media. Because you know that when you go to the street, you may be shot, most likely.
Yeah.
So people use social media to speak up. We've seen posts, Twitter, Facebook, whenever someone's rights have been violated, people will come up and say this is wrong, this is wrong. Yeah. And also we see now like Spires cartoons.
Yeah.
He always puts them there.
He does satirical.
Yes, exactly.
mockery.
And yes, he does that satirical mockery, and he brings out the torture and whatever is going on in the state.
Okay. Yes. And it was going to bring me to another point that when do I have a feeling and human rights to politicizing? Sometimes I don't feel it comes from a goodwill or intention of our legislators and our leaders to fight for actually the rights of people, but it feels like kankakosenga kakodio okubeerawo bandabe nti njogedde ku kino ensonga oba just ekimu tukifuula political oftentimes nga Uganda bwebeera. Do you think it has also been one of the factors that have maybe made human rights abusing thrive even up to now?
I really can't say it's what has made those issues thrive. Yeah. But most of the people that are being tortured are those who come up and say something wrong or point out what the government is doing wrong. Yeah. So that is where the politics comes in. Because you come and say, no, this is wrong, the police did this, it is wrong. And then these are the same people that will come and take you into incommunicado detention, torture you. So that is where most of the people will view it in a political side.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, that's a great remark. Mr. Mwebesa, Now, that brings me to another point, and this question was from a gentleman called Wamala, and Wamala was like, can you paint for us a picture of what Uganda will look like in the next 50 years if this continues like this? Nti, obisigala nga biringa webiri, nga violations igenda maso. By the way, from 2010, we've seen police being the biggest perpetrators of human rights violation in this country. And I don't know, it's still the same statistic every year. Ono mwami yechalo chayogera ochiddamu otyamwebesa mu myaka 50 ngomazi oyina omwana obanga n'omwana wa ino omwana nga tukyali bwe tuti tugenda kubeera nga tuli wange gwanga.
I think our children are going to find a bad Uganda. Yeah, they'll find a bad Uganda if we continue like this, unless something is done to really calm down the situation. So
okay.
Kuluno nze nkukakasa nti waliwo ebintu ebimu nti tetwetaaga na kubyogerako, tetwetaaga na kukola ki, naye wabula twekubenga ku mitima tubirabengamu tubisootinge. Ensonga ezimu kati nga oyogera ku kiba abaana baffe kye banaasanga ekintu kino nga kigenze mu maaso. Olumu ogenda okusanga nti buli lwenkyawe lwe tukeera netukkiriza omupoliisi okuba omuntu ate n'atatwalibwa mu mbuga z'amateeka kuvunaanibwa, oba ne tutagamba nti wakati mu kukola emirimu gye yayiseewo we yandikomye, then awo tuba ffe nga gavumenti oba ngaabo obuyinza baba bakoze ensobi. Era tulina otuuka akaseera tulabe nti ensonga zino zigonjoolwa, kubanga jjukira nkomerero ya bino byonna omuntu yenna akola ekintu ekitali mu mateeka n'akikola eri omulala asaana bwenkanya, ate ono omulala asaana kola ki obwenkanya nabwe kubeera punished. So at the end of the day ono bwatafuna bwenkanya, that is compensation, oba nga olumu n'alaba ng'oli wakiri asibiddwamu ebbanga eryo okugamba nti ayiga ate kyeyamukoze takikola balala, tuba tuyina trend gye tusetinga, tuba tuyina ekintu kye tusetinga, era nga bw'ogambye nti ekintu ekyo bwe kyeyongerayo ku nkomerero ya byonna abazzukulu baana baffe bajja kusanga Uganda embi.
Society eyonooneka.
Ate society nga eyonooneka erina ebibi ebijjirako. Ekisooka obutabankonga mu gavumenti ezo, era ky'oba olaba gavumenti nga Libya ziri we ziri, kubanga Libya yandibadde ete waggulu nga mu Africa esinga ne zi Nigeria ng'eri wala, naye olw'okubanga obudde bwebaddemu okuva Gaddafi bwe yaggyibwako si bwe bulungi obuli awo, era si bwe benyumirizaamu ng'abatuuze b'e Libya. N'ekirala Somalia ogirabye, amawanga mangi g'olabye nga nti gabaddemu obusambaatuko, era ng'obusambaatuko Sudan saawa zino wetwogerera, Sudan eya Bashir ondoozi ogiraba ekigenda mu maaso, nti abantu baagala eddembe lyabwe. Enkya ne bw'ogamba nti ntaddewo military commission egira ebafugamu okumala ebbanga ng'eri mu transition okubawa obukulembeze obw'aba civilians. Abantu tebakkiriza, abantu baagala muviireko ddala beefuge. So nti abantu kye baagala, era discussion eno tunaaba tukoze ensobi we tunaaba tugitadde nnyo okubakulembeze, naye n'ekirala tulabe nnyo abantu kye baagala, nti abantu kye baagala ddembe lyabwe ery'obwabange nga tewaliiko agamba. Wadde nga waliwo restrictions ezimu ezirimitinga, naye zijjemu naye zijjire awatuufu. Sikkiriza waliwo abantu sigamba nti eno gavumenti tekoze nti waliwo abantu betatutte mu makomera olw'ensonga entuufu. Weebali bangi abavunaaniddwa ne batwalibwa mu mbuga z'amateeka n'ebibonerezo byabwe ne babawa ne bagenda mu komera. Naye ku luno nti abantu kati kye baagala balabe nga waliwo enkyukakyuka, nti wabeerawo ekintu ng'ekyo ekibi. Enkya bwe tukeera ne bagamba nti Kakwenza yakubiddwa ngeya mukubeje migo
netunoonya omuntu yamukuba omuntu wakunsukuyakuba omuntu
bemu zino press conferences ezitagwa ne toastinga ba minister ne boogera kino ne boogera kiri ne bagamba nti yandibadde ayina other platforms for redress naye nga minister bw'okiwulira ng'oli minister take interest and investigate
lagako ensi nti olina kyoli mukukola at least
nedda tebalina kutulaga kyokka wabula
n'okubalaga nti olwo
tebalina kutulaga nti balina kyebakola enkya wetukeera ne tulaga kakwenza ng'omubiri gwonna gubulukuse kwegamba talinga muntu ng'akunyumiza olaba ennyama nti basikansike
waliwo omukulu gwe nalina wano okuva mu kibiina ekya NRM n'agamba mbu tetukakaza nti kakwenza bamutulugunyiza oba kyakyenkugamba we are in the thing of twagala tube nga tuwolereza ekintu no matter what cost oba kiki
siina buzibu naye alina eddembe lye asobola okwogera kyonna kyayagadde era kati awo bebamu ku bantu ndowooza bagamba nti banyumirwa eddembe lyabwe but they are siding with the oppressor so yes because singa nga muganda wange bwayogedde singa mu mbeera nga zino ffenna tuvaayo ne tuyimirira n'eddoboozi limu ne tugamba nti kino si kya NRM si kyaki naye wabula Kakwenza yakubiddwa era bwakubibwa tuzaako ki bwaba minisita nga gwe wandibadde okwata n'ebitongole ebikuuma ddembe ne mwegatta ne munoonyereza ku nsonga eyo Masereka saawa zino talina ku bujanjabi bwa gavumenti abayambi ab'ekisa be bamukwatirako okiraba naye twandibadde tugamba ono omuntu yatulugunyizibwa twali tukimanyi oba twali tetukimanyi bwe tuba nga twali tetukimanyi ku saawa eno leka tumujanjabe nga bwe tunoonyereza ensonga zino naye ate nze ngamba mu bintu nga bino tetwandibadde ne zino zi weekly pressers twandibadde ne pressure waakiri buli lunaku nga batugamba Kakwenza tutuuse wano Masereka tutuuse wano okulaga nti ensonga eno kubanga ensonga eno oyinza osanga waakiri bavaayo nga balamu tukyebaliza Katonda ekyo kubanga Katonda teyabama mukka bandibadde bagenda bavaayo nga balamu naye bwe bajja katugezeko okulaba nti nawo we bali mu mbeera ey'okujjanjaba ebiwundu waakiri waliwo akola ki waliwo balina update eyo okiraba nti ku nkomerero ya byonna tujja bba tulina Uganda eyeenyumirizaamu n'oyo yenna atocharinga naye ajja kutya naye ate bwe tubanga abatocharinga
tubongeza rank
be bafuna office ennene
bebagamba nogwe dakika zino ziri 21 zeza kaita kusawa 2 ez'okumakya gwe yakatwegatako program bagita Mighty Drive nkyali n'omwami Andrew Mwebesa okuva mu Kiza and Mugisha Advocates then n'omukyala Elizabeth Nafula naye ava mu Kiza and Mugisha Advocates tuyayogera ku nsonga ya eddembe ly'obuntu eriyongeddwa okuba nga lidibagibwa mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda kati nno oba oyagala okuba nga otwegatako kebera ku mukutu Facebook, Twitter n'emikutu emirala okebere page bagita at the Alternative Uganda bw'ogiraba sindika comment yonna obuuze ekibuuzo ky'obuuza comments nyingi wano zendabeze mwakaweereza mwebale mwenna abaliko then osobola n'okuba nga okumukuba essimu enamba zigenda kubeera ku screen yawo mu dakiika ntono omwami Arnold Mukosa ajja kuba azibateerako oba oyagala okukuba ku simu agikube buuza ku mwami ono n'omukyalo ono babuuze kyonna kyoyagala okuba nga bakuddamu bajja kukikuddamu in real time. Now tubadde tukyayogera ku bireese human rights violations over time. Katwaga tugende ku ngeri gye tugenda ogisolvinga because now this challenge gye tulina ya human rights violation is a systematic challenge nti buli wolaga weziri mu bakulembeze tulinamu obuzibu mu parliament nawo tulinamu obuzibu mu mateeka gennyini ge bakola tulinamu ate ne mu judicial system namu tulinamu naffe ng'abantu Uganda naffe tukyalinamu ensonga ezibadde zikyabulamu kati katulabe engeri gye tusobola okuba nga tusolvinga challenge ino okuba ndatubulayo eddakiika zino ziringa 20 tube nga tumaliza show ngenda tutandika naawe mukyala Elizabeth batugambye twogera oluzungu lungi era bannayuganda bagala tuteekemukko okulwewaka tutandike tutya okwaproaching ensonga ya human rights violations fe abagala okuziprotectinga njagala osooka empowering omuntu ye first line of defense yakiraba ekibeerawo akoze atya ye ng'omuntu sekinnoomu okubanga agatta on the broader goal ey'okwachieving a state that is free from human rights violations if it's actually possible. Yes.
So, ekisookera ddala amateeka gaffe ge tuyina bw'ogasomamu amateeka malungi nnyo. So kyenyiza okugamba nti tulina okutunulira amateeka kye gagamba and we uphold kye gagamba.
Okay, najja gamba mbuze ng'omuntu ayi uphold nze ngagoberera amateeka kati ate kubanga ogagoberera ku kati kigenda kujjawo human rights violations zino nti okutulugunya kugenda sigala nga kugenda mu maaso kati yalowooza ye mu maanyi ge okujjako following amateeka nti kale yes tetulina kulwana tunakola kino naye yakoze atya impact ng'omuntu sekinnoomu okubanga ayamba okulwanisa eno embeera.
Ekisookera ddala okuvaayo n'oyogera okuyimusa eddoboozi lyo ng'omuntu sekinnoomu kiyambako abantu okumanya ki ekigenda mu maaso. Bw'ogenda kanko example like gwe omuntu sekinnoomu ekintu ne kikutuukako weekityo ng'ekyatuuka ku kakwenza n'osirika. Bw'osirika bano ababikoze bagenda kweyongera maaso nga babikola. Kati woba olabye omuntu gwe nga sekinnoomu n'olaba omuntu nga atulugunya omulala vaayo oyogere nti yono yakola bwati ne bwati namulaba. That is the very first thing you should do.
Okay. Speaking out. Okay, about the issue.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other thing apart from I'm done speaking up? Do I demonstrate? What else?
We have an issue with peaceful demonstrations. However much you ask for permission from the police, most likely they will say no. When you go to the street, there's tear gas, there's shooting, there's beating. So most people, abasinga, they fear to go to the street. Yes. So
nene no social media je babeera naye batandise obbakimayo.
Naye fenna we tunayogera fenna tebasobola tumalayo. Okay. By all means we need to fight, because if we do not fight, it is our children that will suffer the consequences. We have to shape our country and the future.
Okay, most definitely. Kandete mwami Mwebesa. Mwami Mwebesa, gwenjagala osooka oyogere ku ensonga ya bano ba judicial officers n'abantu abali mu government, because abantu abali mu government abasinga they were biggest perpetrators, for lack of a better word. Bebasinga okubanga violation bazikiriza okuthriving. Kati nga amateeka go tugayina. Baina amateeka go malungi malambulukufu. Galaga Uganda is free from torture, toyina kumutulugunya, oyina okumuwa eddembe ly'obwebange. Gamateeka gabyogera. Bano abakuumisa amateeka, which is ironic nga wakyogedde nti abalina okuga protecting ate bebakola ki bebagamenya. Kati tutandikire mu bo. How do we tukyejjamu tutya kutandika mu bo? Do they need more training? Do we need to school them, especially these gunmen? Do we need to change something in what they do in their curricula or something? Boom gabantu abo tubakoze tutya ne judicial system soko gitunulemu.
Judicial system teina buzibu eranga bwakikonyeko.
Sirikanga abantu babachunya sebo.
Teina buzibu mu nsonga eno. Musonga bweti nti bale tufayo ku judicial system wayogera ku judicial system mbanja galanda biri ddala ku mateeka agagifuga naye ate katugende ku saate sesandi agade no discussion ebere central nyo ku bantu nti omuntu sekinoomu osobola osalawo n'okola kyoyagala naye ate ku nkomerero ya byonna tuyina ffe kwegamba tuyina what we call a social contract. The social contract eriwo nti ya mateeka eteeka lye tufuga masekati go omulamuzi nange gamba geki yandibadde mateeka nze nandirowoozeza nti mu kaseera nga kano nga tulina judicial system nti omulamuzi yenna ate tewandirinze obudde wano obeere center of discussion obudde wano tugambe nti omulamuzi gundi ne gundi wabula ekyokukola okimanyi bwe tujja mu maaso go nga tulugunyizibwa amateeka galambika bulungi nti eyo entuula ya kooti eba esobola okukola ki okusazibwamu omuntu n'ateebwa kola ekyo kyegalagira bwetyo amateeka webagataputa kubanga onkomero ya byonna bwebanga bwekyo bibiri muti omuntu agende sikyekyo then ekirala bw'ogamba nti ate omulamuzi yazze ate n'agamba nti omuntu ono teyatulugunyizibwa nga waliwo ne reports eziraga nga waliwo ne biki ekiraga
nga nejava bagamba teyajjanga
ali bulungi because by the time you arrest someone aba ali bulungi wera buli wotuukira omukubira aba ali bulungi kyekikulaga nti omuntu yalina yakubibwa max zonna weziri nti agende bwekito wekyandibadde naye era bw'osalawo n'ogamba nti agira abeerayo kale gezaako okuteekawo embeera eraga nti kwegamba sigezaako okugamba nti tubapushinge bakole kye twagala nedda kubanga era n'omulamuzi aliwo okubalansinga interest zonna ebbiri waliwo ya state ebeera egamba nti gundi ono yazza emisango ate waliwo n'endala egamba nti munaye terina kye yakola oba yakikola naye tugiri bwe tuti na bwe tuti kati nze kyengezaako okugamba nti poliisi judiciary byonna ebyo olumu nandibise byonna bitongole bikuuma ddembe nti judiciary likuuma etya erina okuinterpretinga ate erina okutugamba ki omuntu kyalina okugenderako poliisi erina otukuuma fe obulamu bwaffe n'ebyaffe so
si kutwala bulamu ngenda kulemerako ku nsonga eno nti tebeetaaga training omupoliisi agenda ekabalye ne babatendeka okumala emyezi 9 lwaki tebateeka human rights as one of the causes and it is one of them. I'm aware that human rights, they teach them human rights. They have I've met many police officers who tell me that they even have they come with penal codes. Their penal codes, they have them and they know how to go about it. So what am I saying? Even when they have everything, bakirenja bakole bintu abantu byebagala bakole bintu n'amateeka ge balambika okukola si kwetaaga ate kudda wali ku meandering amanyono twamukutte tugira tumucharginga ki agira abeera mu kaduukulu nedda abatembe bali mu kukwata mu kibuga bangi naye nga abateeka mu komera ne babeera mu ku CPS babeerawo nga bangi. So kichengezaako okugamba at the end of the day ebintu byonna ebikolebwa katukole kuberera amateeka kyegalagira training baba wemala abalamuzi babeera ne judges conferences ezo tosobola kungamba they are not trained about human rights. Human rights is very central. Those topics, they have been trained. So training has been there and it will continue to be there. But each time we do training, what are the positives? Where are we seeing a change? Deliverables.
So it is right now. It is absurd for me to say that we need more trainings. No.
Someone is calling. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. You are on the drive.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Edida, and your guest.
Yes, please.
My name is Ethan, and I want to comment a little bit on what Andrew just said.
Yes.
The police, except for the fact that they should learn human rights courses, I think they do have a code of conduct. Now, the code of conduct also means that they have measures, they have protocols that they have to do certain things in order. It doesn't mean that an officer is at liberty to do whatever they want to do because they do not have knowledge over what they should be doing as regards human rights. So I think it goes back to the leadership. It also goes to the implementation. If someone feels they don't have that much threat and pressure from the leading organs of government, they are at liberty to do whatever it is. Of course, there's the problem that comes with absolute power. When someone feels like they're in control, they want to exert exactly that one. So I think the check should be in the leadership. It should be in the structures to know that if someone is in a position of leadership, there are certain things you can't do as much as you have the power to do. Thank you so much.
Okay. But we even have Ugandans who can restrain themselves. When you start treating someone like a god, they start behaving like a god and feeling like a god.
So,
He talks about the leadership.
Edgar, chenga maliriza. Nga maliza kunsonga eyo. Nze chengamba training, we've had them. And these trainings have actually continued to strengthen and streamline the rules of the game. That way to streamline the rules of when someone is wrong and when someone is going to do the arrest. And Edgar, there should be no questions in as far as the law. There is no need to discuss the law. No, to discuss how the law but the implementation is the problem. Because at the end of the day, the law is very clear on when and how you're supposed to arrest. Don't come and just, you have to hit someone's door, you have to break it. No,
break windows and everything.
I think
yes,
the best approach to all this thing is, the bottom line is, follow the law.
Okay. There is a message from Miss Patricia Among on Facebook, but before I read that, there's a question for you, Miss Elizabeth. This is from Dana Yebare on Twitter. Dana Yebare is from Nansa, and he says, don't you think the challenge we have is the leaders who have overstayed in power? I think Chagamba Dan, obudde bwetu abantu bwebadde mu buyinza olowooza tebucontributinze because kiringanga omuntu wasigala nga ali in one position attending okulowooza mbu lifestyle is that position. Wakitegeera. Is he right, Mr. Dana Yebare?
When people get power, they feel like they're above the law. So, and what I can say is that these people know what the law says. They know what is right and they know what is wrong. They come up, tell you, they know what is right.
Okay.
But they will do actions that are wrong. So, ekintu kye tulina okukola okulaba the individuals, tulina okujawo this thing of order from above. Let the individual who does that thing be accountable, be held accountable as an individual.
Yeah. The individuals who stole some things from Congo a few years ago, and now we are the ones paying for what those individuals did.
We need to hold these individuals accountable so that they stop holding on to the phrase of orders from above.
Oh, Kali, we have Miss Dr. Sylvia Namubiru, who is the Executive Director of LASPNet. Thank you so much for watching the show, and it's always a privilege having you on the Mighty Drive. Now, can they message you? In fact, so commenting, Dr. Mwami Andrew Mwebesa, kunsonga ya Dana Yebare, jayogede ko ku Twitter. Ugamba nti abantu okubanga babadde mu buyinza okumala akaseera akawanvu kiyinza okuba nga kyekireetedde human rights violations okweyongeranga entakera.
Kiyinza okubeera nga kyekimu ku nsonga naye ate sandyagadde gibemerako lwa nsonga omuntu ne bwalemera mu buyinza. Obviously there are leaders who have been in power because people want them to stay. And this overstay in power in the case of Uganda, maybe there was an amendment, and so I may not want so much to dwell onto the overstay of leaders, because there are also leaders who overstay in power, who may stay in power, but the people's freedoms are guaranteed. If you go to a peaceful election and you're voted out, you get out. But if the election is violent, then there will be doubts that perhaps maybe you're staying in power.
Back home.
No,
I think
yes, I'm coming. Here in Uganda, I've said it may contribute.
Why do I think it is one of the biggest contributors?
She's at liberty to think like that, and
I'm also thinking that as well.
Yes, and you're free to think like that, and it is okay. It may be the I've said it may be part of the contributors.
Look at this, Mr. Mwebesa.
Yes.
From 1986 to 1996, Uganda was a paradise. If you would like, you can call it a heaven.
From 1986
to 96. Those first 10 years were 10 years of discipline in the army, protection of human rights, growth of the economic sector, respect of individuals. When we started in 1996, they started to come out mpola mpola. In 2001, that is when it started coming out. The impunity started coming out. From that time up to right now, the things are just growing.
The thing is,
the more they stay in power is the more
omuntu yena bw'alwala
aba
ofuna accident ng'eyo ng'oli mulwadde. During the recovery process is the best process. Ojja kufuna abakukyalirako, ojja kufuna abakujanjaba, n'abatakwagala oyinza obba kufuula mikwano gyo. And trust me, omuntu oyo yayinza okusanyuka ennyo okusinga. Naye ate leka tuleme kwerabira mu bbanga eryo twandibanga twali tugezaako okuwona, what we call recovery. Okuva mu mbeera ziri emabega nga tugezaako okudda mu mbeera ki empya. So saagala myaka egyo ate tugiremereko nnyo kubanga okuva olwo ebintu bizze bikyuka. A lot of violence has been meted on people. A lot of human rights abuses have been perpetrated by the state agencies. And matters have even ended up in courts of law. So there is evidence to that. But what am I trying to say? The long stay of leaders in power may have contributed. But let's not forget that even when someone stays in power, the human rights of individuals should be guaranteed. There should not be like waliwo abasigadde mu buyinza naye nga eddembe ly'abantu balikola ki balisosowaza okusinga ebirala byonna.
Wadde beesigaliza mu buyinza.
Yes, because we can I think we don't have so many leaders who have very good human rights records, like maybe they are protected and maybe they have stayed in power. But I think someone's long stay in power should not take away the rights of people. Let people enjoy their rights. Let them peacefully demonstrate. Let them freely express themselves. Let them freely speak out their minds. Let them freely associate and discuss political matters.
Okay, now cancel message yaje bade bakusindikidde. Omukyala amita Patricia Among. Thank you so much for watching, Miss Patricia Among. Gambie, thanks for the show, Edgar. Talking about the judicial system and Mr. Andrew Mwebesa saying it has no problem, it is hypocritical. Judges denying torture victims access to treatment, cases taking long in court till the oppressed give up, and the council says it has no problem. I expected him to say that the judiciary is no longer independent. They are serving Museveni's interests. Omukyalo no kyagambe nakyo kyom replying Mr. Mwebesa.
You know, when she says it's a hypocritical,
it's a hypocritical view.
Patricia, thank you for the feedback. I want to think that she's right. She has followed maybe events that have been so frustrating and she has found them hypocritical. And she's very right to say so.
Okay.
But also not forgetting that each time as a lawyer, I always look into, has the judge performed his duty? Has the judge exercised his power judiciously? And I always go by that. So I'm not bound into what the hypocrisy is. Yes, there has been a lot of hypocrisy and betrayal. It has been there. We also go with expectations, depending on how I've also arranged my things, and I all know by the time we go to court, the expectations, have expectations. But that notwithstanding, and sometimes we reach a point and we are disappointed, but that notwithstanding, we continue to move on and always pursue justice even where we don't see it.
Okay. Onera Gambe, and to Madam Elizabeth, calling on to people to come and speak truth to power, which most of us are willing to do. Do we expect free legal representation? Because a lot of activists are rotting in jail. I expected that when you call upon, you should also assure them of certain help in your capacity as a lawyer.
There are so many people that have approached us.
No,
if they approach us, we shall give them legal representation.
Is it free? Giving them the legal representation is there. Because the lady here is intentional about talking about
free legal representation.
representation.
We can do that.
Is that just are you being nice?
No, I'm not just being nice.
Yes.
But if you came to me and approached me, and I see that it is your right to speak up, and you're being arrested because you're speaking up, why not? Why not?
Council Mwebesa, do you expect some pro bono work in case someone has been trying to protect, the human rights of
what I may say is that for the last time I've been under my captain, I've seen him. We've done quite a number of pro bono cases. Not just pro bono, but we've defended people's rights, even at no cost. So I think I've not seen him chase away some people for the last very many years. So I want to think that it's not all about
the money.
There are cases we've taken on, and I want to believe that we shall continue taking on more and more, and once they come up. So
and by the way, just to say thank you for defending Mr. Luther Ferdinand.
Oh,
he's now out. He's okay. He's having, I'm not going to say the best time of his life, but he's okay. He's well. Okay. So thank you so much. Guys, we are coming to the end of the show. I see you have like 5 minutes to end this particular discussion. I want to just pick your minds on just the generally what should be our key takeaways from the discussion we have had. I'm going to start with you, Elizabeth. Bannayuganda olwaba akwerabira buli kimu bakyerabira naye kikyolowooza kye bayinza okuba nga tebalina kwerabira ku byonna bye twogeddeko
byonna bye twogedde tebalina kwerabira nti balina eddembe ly'omuntu ng'abantu. Constitution, which is the supreme law, it lays down these laws, the freedoms that we have to enjoy as human beings. So kyembagamba nti temutya kwogera, muveeyo mwogere, fight for your rights, because if you do not fight for your rights, they will be taken away.
Okay.
We need to fight for our rights.
Okay. Fighting, I hope you're not meaning the real fighting, because Ugandans may think why are they trying to
speak up.
She may opt for
speak up, get united. Yes, because wetutuuse si birungi. Si birungi, just beating a refugee, you're arrested for a very long time.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't pick your mind on, by the way, who you are, courtesy of you coming early, as he said on the break. First, tell us more about yourself, Miss Elizabeth.
I am an associate at Chiza Mugisha Advocates. I am a lawyer. Enrolled. I'm an advocate of the High Court, and I'm a human rights defender. Yes.
Okay. How has been the process? Because you're a female and you're entering that department where you have to run in the mud. How has it been for you as you, Elizabeth?
I have a history of the human rights field.
Okay.
Yes, ever since I started law school, I've been involved in these human rights projects. So I can't say it has been very challenging. It has been easy for me because natandika nchali. Nachingira nchali. So I've been there for a long time and I know what to do. Yes.
Wow, okay. Mr. Mwebesa.
Yes.
Abakulabye olunaku lwa leero. Mu byonna lwaba akwerabira. Beerabire naye kiki oyagala basigale nga bajjukira?
Bannayuganda teeka tuleme kwerabira nti tulina eddembe ly'obwebange eritaweebwa muntu mulala yenna naye wabula liweebwa ssemateeka gye tuyita social contract eriwo wasekati gaffe n'abatufuga. So n'olwekyo bannayuganda wadde olumu waliwo twekumira mu kyokugamba bino tebinyamba human rights biki naye abannayuganda mwanditegedde nti tulina eddembe. So before you go to any lawyer to help you pursue your freedom and seek justice, always first know what you're entitled to. Teekayo omwoyo kyengamba nti muteekeyo omwoyo olabe oyige omanye kyekyo kigenda mu maaso. N'olwekyo nze ngamba nti ke kaseera Situkiremu. If our freedoms are being threatened, then katugende mu maaso tulwanirire ekyo ekyaffe tusigale nakyo kubanga nga bwe ngambye mu ntandikwa nti eddembe ly'obuntu kyekyobugagga kyoweebwa nga waakazaalibwa kyosigala nakyo ng'oli mulamu mpaka woofiira ate n'abafu balina eddembe lyabwe.
tulina eddakiika 3 waliwo ebibuuzo ebyakayingirawo wano omukyala nakyayina Rita abuuzizza. They summoned Semakadde and Mabirizi is arrested as lawyers. What is your take as the legal fraternity? Mulowooza ki kukwata kwa Mabirizi? Mabirizi bamukutte olunaku lw'eggulo era agenda ndowooza kumala emyezi 18 emabega w'emitayimbwa bamuteeka kugwa contempt of court. Kantandike naawe Elizabeth, olowooza ki kweno ensonga? In fact nagamba yayongerako nagamba what is their take also on Sereko's bill aimed at stifling the rights to expression? Tusooke neya Mabirizi.
I think it is very unfortunate that the freedom of speech is now getting to this. It's no longer freedom. Yes. So it is unfortunate that people now take things very personal and want to punish whoever talks bad about them.
So Mabirizi's issues is a personal thing, do you think?
I don't want to say much about it.
Okay. Sub-duties? Council Minister.
Mabirizi, there is, as far as I'm informed, there is today there is an application before the today or tomorrow. There is an application before the Court of Appeal, and it will be heard. So I wouldn't want much to dwell into that matter. So let's wait for the judgment, and I know it will be. I hope
ensonga ya Sereko.
Tujja naye Mabirizi nti he's a rule of law champion. Whatever he has been pursuing, I have no issues with him. Personally. Even I may disagree on his modus operandi, but I have no issues.
Okay.
When he sees there is someone being critical.
By the way, Mabirizi is one
Mabirizi
of those.
is critical. He invests his time and he comes up with his suits. Frivolous as they may be declared and superstitious as they may be declared before courts of law, but he's in his own right.
To do
so
that.
me, above all, I applaud him for always enjoying his right and standing up.
Our minutes are going down. Please talk about Sereko's bill.
You know, there was a landmark decision from the case of Andrew, a case of Andrew Mwenda and Charles Onyango. So that I don't like that case is very clear, and it should be. It is the bedrock of wherever we come into freedom of expression, and maybe someone wants to bring in a relation to cyber harassment and other things. What am I trying to say? The case protects all the kinds of speech, save for speech which is inciting and some other kind of speech that is not protected by the same case. And when you go into the law, it commensurates well with the law, with the law we have. So, you know, right now we have the Electronics Transactions and Communications Act. We have the Computer Misuse Act. Right now, we have 3 constitutional petitions lying before the Constitutional Court, seeking to outlaw the Computer Misuse Act, because we even feel like even the Penal Code and the Penal Code puts enough sanctions to the exercise of freedom of press and expression. So why you come in and you want to create another, you know, another law to curb speech? You're wrong. You're wrong, and I at the moment I also want to believe that we don't need the law. You can mend even the existing laws. By the way, I don't see any problem, even when we have the Computer Misuse Act. It has not been outlawed, but it is a law that, since it is before the Constitutional Court, I also don't want to deal much. But I also think we can do better by keeping with what is existing, Why don't we add more laws in our penal code?
Okay, your parting shots, Mr.
My
Mabesa.
parting shots are that at the moment, Ugandans should be vigilant about their rights.
Okay.
They should be vigilant about their rights, even when you don't have a lawyer to interpret them for you. But at least get a book for those who have got the elites who have gone to school, and maybe you can read the sentence or two. Try to read them. Have a discussion instead of sitting on a malwa and you're discussing women. You can also discuss your rights. Thank
So
you.
there is a problem discussing women, sir. We like to end on a light note, and just to find out in just 30 seconds, what do you like to do in case you're not doing law or anything serious? What are some of your hobbies?
I like reading books.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're
I
still
like
reading
reading
the law.
books.
The law is all about reading. Even when you're chilling, you're reading.
Yes. I like reading books. Some of them are non-legal, really, but I love reading books and watching movies. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I also like to watch movies. Mr. Mabesa,
Yes.
what do you enjoy doing if you're not doing law?
One of the things I like, I enjoy music, and sometimes I even go to the choir and sing. Yes, so I also do some choir music, and when I'm not doing that, books is my hobby, and football.
Oh, okay. We share football in common. I don't like to sing in the choir. I would sing in my house, but not in a choir. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And thank you to our viewers who have been watching from 7 a.m. up to now. It's always a privilege and a pleasure having you around. Tomorrow we shall be having Lillian Luede, and she will be joining Farida Bikobe right here, and myself as we take you midweek. That is on the Mighty Drive Show. Thank you so much for those who called in live. I didn't get the name of the caller, but thank you so much. Then those who have sent in those messages, Nacha, Nerita, and the rest of the team, thank you so much. And Patricia, thank you so much. And to the gentleman who's always on camera, Mr. JJ Jacob, thank you, man. You should see this gentleman, he wears specs. And there are a lot of things about people who wear specs, but thank you so much. Teddy Tenjo, thank you. Roger Studahapa, thank you. Katoto Musime, thank you. Arnold Mokose Anthony, thank you. Joymaya Mchibi, thank you so much. And to everybody who has been watching, we shall meet again. We have a new show coming soon. That is Take Our Sheet. It will be happening on Tuesday at 11 a.m. by Mr. Katoto Musime. So keep it locked at the Alternative TikTok. My name is Edgar. Let's go in for what? Let's just leave. We shall meet again tomorrow morning. Thank you. Good morning.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.